The large view screen on the bridge of the Earth Alliance ship Defiance showed the approaching Zoraxian vessel. It was massive, at least 5 times the size of the human ship, with a sleek design that seemed to shimmer against the backdrop of stars. Captain Olivia Marsh stood tall, her blue uniform crisp and perfect. This was humanity's first official meeting with an alien civilization, and she felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Are the communication channels open?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Yes, Captain," replied Communications Officer Gray Harris. "They're receiving our signal." Lieutenant Commander Daniel Wright moved to stand beside his captain. His eyes narrowed as he studied the alien ship. Something about this meeting felt wrong to him, but he couldn't explain why. "You look worried." "Right," Olivia said quietly. Daniel nodded. "Just being careful, Captain. They contacted us out of nowhere, already knowing our language. That takes time and study. You think they've been watching us. I think we should be ready for anything." The view screen flickered, and the image of a Zoraxian appeared. The alien had gray-blue skin that seemed to reflect light like polished metal. Its 4 eyes blinked independently of each other, and when it spoke, its mouth didn't move in sync with the words. "Greetings, humans of Earth. I am High Commander Zex of the Zoraxian Empire. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations with your species." Captain Marsh stepped forward. "This is Captain Olivia Marsh of the Earth Alliance. We welcome you and look forward to peaceful exchanges between our peoples." The meeting continued smoothly. The Zoraxians spoke of trade, cultural exchange, and shared knowledge. They invited a small team from the Defiance to visit their ship. Captain Marsh selected herself, Daniel, and 3 other crew members for the diplomatic party. As they prepared to board the shuttle, Daniel checked his hidden sidearm. Captain Marsh noticed. "We're going as peaceful representatives." "Right," she said with a frown. "And I intend for us to return that way too, Captain," he replied. The inside of the Zoraxian ship was even more impressive than its exterior. The walls seemed alive, pulsing with soft light. High Commander Zex led them through corridors filled with technology beyond human understanding. "Your ship is amazing," said Olivia. "Our engineers would love to learn about your propulsion systems." "All in good time," Zex replied with what appeared to be a smile. "First, let us discuss more important matters." They entered a large chamber with a window overlooking Earth. Several other Zoraxians waited there, standing around a table displaying a holographic map of the solar system. "What is this?" asked Daniel, his hand moving subtly toward his hidden weapon. High Commander Zex's tone changed completely. "This is the future. Your future." The hologram changed to show Earth's colonies across the solar system and beyond. One by one, they began to flash red. "Right now, our ships are moving into position around your settlements," Zex said coldly. "Your species has resources we need. Your resistance would be pointless." Captain Marsh stepped forward. "This is an act of war. Earth will defend itself." The Zoraxian laughed, a strange metallic sound. "With what? Your primitive weapons. Your handful of ships. We have studied you for decades. You are no threat to us." Daniel moved fast, drawing his weapon. But before he could fire, energy beams shot from the walls, freezing the humans in place. "Take them to the holding cells," Zex ordered. "Once we've secured the colonies, we'll deal with Earth itself." As they were dragged away, Daniel caught a glimpse through a viewport. In the distance, flashes of light erupted around the Mars colony. The attack had begun. In his pocket, Daniel's emergency beacon activated, sending a distress signal to Earth. The Zoraxians hadn't found it during their scan. They thought humanity was weak. They thought their attack would go unchallenged. They were wrong. On Earth, in a hidden facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral William Donovan received the signal. His face hardened as he pressed a red button on his desk. "Activate Phoenix contingency," he said quietly. It seems the war we prepared for has finally come. Commander Nathan Curtis woke to the sound of emergency sirens. His head throbbed, and dust filled the air around him. The ceiling of the Proxima Centauri IV colony hub had partially collapsed. Red emergency lights cast eerie shadows across the rubble. "Status report," he called out, pulling himself up. No one answered. Nathan checked his wrist computer. The colony's communication system was down. The last message he remembered was a warning about unidentified ships entering the system. He made his way through the damaged corridor, stepping over broken pipes and fallen support beams. The colony had been home to over 5,000 people. Now it was silent except for the distant wail of alarms. In the main control room, Nathan found Dr. Samantha Miller working frantically at a console. Her lab coat was torn and stained with blood from a cut on her forehead. "Commander Curtis," she said, looking up briefly. "I thought everyone in command was dead." "What happened?" Nathan asked, moving to help a man trapped under a fallen desk. "They came without warning," Samantha explained. "At least 3 massive ships. They disabled our defenses in seconds, then sent smaller craft to land. They're taking everything. Our resources, our technology, and they're rounding up survivors." The man under the desk groaned as Nathan pulled him free. "Thanks," he said. His uniform identified him as Security Officer Alan Perez. "How many of us are left?" Nathan asked. "Maybe 100 hiding in the lower levels," Samantha replied. "These aliens, they call themselves Zoraxians. They don't seem to care about killing us. They just remove anyone in their way." A screen flickered to life, showing feed from the colony's exterior cameras. Nathan saw tall, metallic-skinned creatures directing hovering platforms that carried minerals and equipment from the colony storage areas. "They're treating this like a shopping trip," Alan said bitterly. "Like we're not even worth considering as a threat." Nathan watched as a group of human colonists was marched toward one of the alien ships. "We need to do something." Over the next few days, Nathan, Samantha, and Alan gathered more survivors. They created a makeshift headquarters in the colony's maintenance tunnels, deep below the surface where the aliens hadn't bothered to search thoroughly. "From what I can tell, they hit every major colony in this sector," said Linda Rogers, a communications specialist who had managed to repair a long-range receiver. "Earth sent out a general alert, but then went silent. No one knows what's happening there." Nathan looked at the small group gathered around him. 28 people, a mix of military personnel and civilians. Not an army, but maybe enough to start fighting back. "We need intelligence," he decided. "We need to know who these Zoraxians are and why they're here." Samantha stepped forward. "I might have a way. Before the attack, I was working on a project to enhance our sensor capabilities. If we can access the main lab, I could modify the equipment to monitor their communications." "That's in the central hub," Alan pointed out. "Crawling with aliens now." "Then we'll need a distraction," Nathan said. Their plan was simple but dangerous. Alan and a few others would create a commotion at the far end of the colony, drawing the alien guards away from the central hub. Meanwhile, Nathan would escort Samantha to her lab. The distraction worked better than they'd hoped. As explosions rocked the colony's power plant, most of the Zoraxian forces rushed to investigate. Nathan and Samantha slipped into the main hub through a maintenance shaft. In her lab, Samantha worked quickly, modifying her equipment. "They don't encrypt their communications," she said with surprise. "They don't think we could possibly understand their technology." As Samantha downloaded data, Nathan kept watch. Through the window, he could see a Zoraxian ship landing, larger than the others. "We need to hurry," he urged. "Got it," Samantha said, pocketing a small device. "Everything they're saying, everything they're planning. It's all here." As they escaped back through the tunnels, Samantha studied the data. Her face grew pale. "What is it?" Nathan asked. "They're not just raiding us," she whispered. "This is a full invasion, and Earth is their main target." Meanwhile, beneath the Rocky Mountains on Earth, Admiral Donovan entered a massive underground hangar. Hundreds of engineers and military personnel worked on sleek ships, unlike anything in Earth's official fleet. "Is the Retribution ready?" he asked. "Almost, sir," answered Laura Blackwood, wiping grease from her hands. "The aliens won't know what hit them." Admiral William Donovan stood in the center of the underground command room, surrounded by large screens showing reports from across the solar system. Most displayed only static or emergency signals. Earth's colonies were falling one by one. 20 years I warned them, he said to no one in particular. 20 years I said we needed to prepare for a threat from beyond. Major Frank Ellis approached with a tablet. "The President and what's left of the Joint Chiefs have arrived, sir. They're waiting in the briefing room." Donovan nodded and made his way through the bustling facility. The Rocky Mountain Complex had been his secret project for over a decade. Politicians had slashed military budgets, focusing instead on peaceful exploration. Donovan had diverted funds, created ghost projects, and built this facility off the books. Many had called him paranoid. No one was saying that now. In the briefing room, President Helen Garcia looked up as he entered. Her face showed exhaustion and shock. "Admiral," she said, "I think you owe us an explanation about this facility." "With respect, Madam President, I think recent events have done all the explaining needed," Donovan replied. "The Phoenix contingency was created for exactly this scenario. An overwhelming alien force that our regular fleet couldn't handle. And you kept it secret from your own government." "I kept it alive despite budget cuts and policies that would have killed it," Donovan corrected. "Now it's our only hope." He activated a holographic display showing the solar system. Red dots indicated Zoraxian positions surrounding Earth and the major colonies. "They've established blockades around every human settlement," he explained. "Our conventional forces have been decimated, but they don't know about Project Retribution." General Ryan leaned forward. "Which is what, exactly?" Donovan pressed a button, and the room darkened. A wall slid open, revealing a massive window overlooking an enormous underground hangar. Below them, technicians worked on ships unlike any Earth had officially produced. Sleek, deadly vessels with advanced weapon systems. "My God," whispered the President. "How many?" 50 ships, Donovan said. "Not enough to match their fleet, but these aren't ordinary vessels. For that, I'll introduce you to our chief engineer." The door opened and Laura Blackwood entered. She wasn't in uniform, and her hands were stained with engine grease. 5 years ago, she had been the leading weapons designer at Global Dynamics until peace treaties restricted her work. "Ms. Blackwood has been developing technology that will give us an edge," Donovan explained. Laura activated her own display, showing schematics of the ships below. "The Zoraxians have better conventional weapons, but we have something they don't expect. 27 years ago, an alien craft crashed in the Arizona desert. It wasn't Zoraxian, but studying its technology gave us ideas they won't be prepared for." "Like what?" asked General Ryan. "Phase shift technology," Laura said. "Their shields work on predictable energy frequencies. Our weapons can bypass them completely." President Garcia looked troubled. "Why wasn't I informed about any of this?" "Plausible deniability," Donovan said simply. "If the public found out about the crashed ship or these preparations, there would have been panic. And if we were wrong about the threat, your administration wouldn't be tied to a wasteful military project." Before the president could respond, an officer burst into the room. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Proxima Centuri IV. We thought that colony was destroyed." "Put it through," Donovan ordered. A static-filled image appeared of a man in a torn Earth Alliance uniform. "This is Commander Nathan Curtis. We have critical intelligence on Zoraxian movements and capabilities. They're planning to attack Earth directly within the week. Their central command ship carries their leadership caste. If you can strike that, their command structure will collapse." "How did you get this information?" Donovan asked. A woman appeared next to Commander Curtis. "Dr. Samantha Miller, sir. I modified our sensors to intercept their communications. They're overconfident. They don't believe we have the capability or will to fight back. Laura Blackwood smiled grimly. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Donovan turned to the president. Madam President, I need your authorization to activate the fleet of Retribution. President Garcia stood, her face resolute. Do it, Admiral. Show them humanity isn't as helpless as they thought. In orbit around Jupiter, hidden in a camouflaged base within the moon Callisto, Captain Eric Ramirez received the activation code and smiled. Crew to battle stations, he ordered. The hunt begins. Captain Eric Ramirez stood on the bridge of the EA's Vengeance, the largest ship in humanity's secret fleet. At 55 years old, with gray streaking his dark hair, he had been pulled from retirement for this mission. For 20 years, he had commanded Earth's best ships, until peace treaties reduced the military and forced him out. Status report, he ordered, his voice calm despite the tension in the air. All systems green, Captain, replied his first officer, Susan Martinez. The other ships are reporting ready as well. The Callisto base had been home to 12 ships of the Hidden Fleet. Similar bases existed on Titan, in the asteroid belt, and even in deep craters on Earth's moon. For years, they had trained in secret, prepared for a day they hoped would never come. Launch sequence initiated, announced the helmsman. Emerging from concealment in 30 seconds, the roof of the hidden hangar slid open, revealing the stars above. One by one, the ships rose from their hiding place, their advanced engines barely making a sound. Set course for the rendezvous point, Ramirez ordered. Stealth systems at maximum. Unlike Earth's regular ships, the fleet of Retribution vessels had been built with technology reverse-engineered from the Arizona crash site. Their hulls absorbed scanner signals rather than reflecting them. Their engines left no traditional heat signature. To the Zoraxians, they would be nearly invisible. In the weapons lab aboard the Vengeance, Lieutenant Kimberly Powell worked frantically to finish her calculations. At 28, she was the youngest senior officer in the fleet, a brilliant weapons specialist who had discovered something crucial about the enemy. Come on, she muttered, watching as her computer ran simulations. The screen flashed green, and she smiled. Got you. She rushed to the bridge, tablet in hand. Captain Ramirez, I've confirmed the weakness in their shield technology. Ramirez nodded for her to continue. The bridge crew turned to listen. Their shields operate on a predictable mathematical sequence, she explained. It changes frequencies to block different types of attacks, but the pattern is consistent. If we time our weapons to fire at precisely the right moment in their cycle, we can penetrate their defenses with minimal power. Can you program our weapon systems accordingly? Ramirez asked. Already done, sir. I've transmitted the firing solutions to all ships in the fleet. Ramirez smiled for the first time in days. Good work, Howell. This could make all the difference. Meanwhile, on the other side of the solar system, Zoraxian ships surrounded Earth. Their massive vessels dwarfed the remaining human defenses. Orbital platforms fell silent one by one as they were disabled or destroyed. On the Zoraxian command ship, Supreme Commander Vorex watched with satisfaction. The human resistance is crumbling, reported his second-in-command. Their major military bases have been neutralized. We've detected no sign of their main fleet. They have no main fleet, Vorex said dismissively. Our intelligence was thorough. Their ships are primitive and few. Begin landing operations. Should we demand surrender first? Asked his officer. Vorex made a gesture of contempt. Unnecessary. They are barely worth the effort of conquest. Their only value is their resources and perhaps some as labor. Little did he know that deep in the edges of the solar system, humanity's true fleet was gathering. Ships emerged from hidden bases across the outer planets, converging at a point beyond Pluto. Captain Ramirez stood before the assembled captains via holographic communication. 24 men and women commanding the most advanced vessels humans had ever built. For years we trained for this day, he told them. We hoped it would never come, but we prepared nonetheless. The Zoraxians believe they've won already. They think humanity is defeated. His eyes hardened. It's time to show them how wrong they are. He displayed the battle plan developed by Admiral Donovan and the fleet's strategists. It was risky, unconventional, nothing like traditional space combat tactics. They expect us to fight like we always have, Ramirez explained. Instead, we'll do what humans do best, adapt and surprise. We attack in 36 hours. Make your final preparations. As the meeting ended, Lieutenant Powell approached Ramirez. Sir, what are our chances, really? Ramirez considered the question. The Zoraxians have numbers and firepower. We have surprise and ingenuity. He smiled grimly. Throughout history, never bet against desperate humans with nothing left to lose. On Earth, Laura Blackwood made final adjustments to the weapon that might turn the tide of war. Hold on, she whispered to no one in particular. Help is coming. Commander Nathan Curtis pressed his back against the wall, signaling for Samantha to stay low. 2 Zoraxian guards walked past, their metal-like skin reflecting the dim emergency lights of the colony corridor. Clear, he whispered once they passed. The landing bay is just ahead. After 2 weeks of hiding and gathering intelligence on Proxima Centauri IV, Nathan and Samantha had made a discovery that could change the course of the war. The Zoraxians had brought their central command vessel to the colony, believing it was secure from any human threat. Are you sure about this plan? Samantha asked, as they moved toward the bay where smaller Zoraxian ships were docked. If we're caught, we'll never get this data back to Earth. Nathan checked the small weapon he had assembled from colony tools and spare parts. It wasn't powerful, but tests showed it could stun a Zoraxian for a few seconds. Admiral Donovan needs to know what's on this data drive, Nathan said firmly. The Zoraxian fleet movements, their command structure, their battle plans. It's all here. If we don't get it to Earth, any counterattack will be flying blind. They reached the landing bay door. Through the small window, they could see 3 Zoraxians working on a shuttle. Remember the plan, Nathan whispered. I create a distraction. You get to the shuttle and start the launch sequence. Samantha nodded, clutching the precious data drive. During her time studying Zoraxian communications, she had also learned the basics of their ship controls. Nathan took a deep breath and pushed through the door. Hey, he shouted, immediately firing his makeshift weapon at the nearest alien. The Zoraxian fell, temporarily paralyzed. The other 2 turned, reaching for their weapons. Nathan fired again, missing one but hitting the other. He dove behind cargo containers as energy blasts struck the wall behind him. Samantha raced toward the shuttle while the aliens focused on Nathan. She reached the open hatch and slipped inside, quickly moving to the control panel. The symbols were strange, but matched what she had studied from intercepted communications. Outside, Nathan was pinned down. The remaining Zoraxian called for backup as it moved closer to his position. Inside the shuttle, Samantha worked frantically. The engine hummed to life, and the shuttle systems lit up. She looked out the viewport to see Nathan still trapped behind the containers. Making a quick decision, she activated the shuttle's external loading arm. The mechanical limb swung around, striking the remaining Zoraxian from behind and sending it crashing into a wall. Now, Nathan, she called through the ship's external speakers. Nathan sprinted for the shuttle, diving through the hatch just as doors at the far end of the bay slid open, revealing a squad of Zoraxian guards. The hatch sealed shut behind him. Get us out of here, he gasped, pulling himself into the co-pilot's seat. Samantha pushed forward on the controls. The shuttle lifted off, turning toward the bay's force field that kept the atmosphere in but allowed ships to pass through. Hold on, she warned as they accelerated toward it. Behind them, energy blasts from Zoraxian weapons struck the shuttle's rear shields. They burst through the force field into space. Immediately, alarms sounded from the command console. They're tracking us, Nathan said, studying the alien display. And there's a warship moving to intercept. I know, Samantha replied, her hand steady on the controls. But I found something in their communication logs. Watch. She entered a specific code sequence, and the shuttle's identification signal changed. When she opened a channel, she spoke in carefully practiced Zoraxian phrases. The pursuing ship hesitated, then moved away. "What did you do?" Nathan asked in amazement. "I gave them the clearance code for a high-priority courier mission," she explained. "They think we're on official business for their high command." Nathan laughed softly. "Brilliant. Will it get us past their blockade?" "It should. And then we make a run for Earth." She looked at him seriously. "It'll take us at least 4 days at this shuttle's top speed. Then we better hope Earth can hold out that long," Nathan said, looking back at the shrinking form of the colony. "And that Admiral Donovan has something ready when we arrive." On Earth, Laura Blackwood connected the final component to what she called the Blackwood device. The weapon was small enough to fit on a standard missile, but could disrupt Zoraxian shield harmonics across an entire fleet. "It's ready," she told Admiral Donovan. "Let's just hope we get the chance to use it." Admiral Donovan stood in the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as red dots representing Zoraxian ships moved closer to Earth. The planet's remaining defenses were falling rapidly. 3 days had passed since the initial attack, and humanity seemed on the brink of defeat. "Sir, we've detected an incoming ship," reported a young officer. "Small, Zoraxian design, but it's broadcasting on an Earth Alliance emergency frequency." Donovan straightened. "Put it through." The main screen flickered, showing a tired-looking man and woman in a cramped cockpit. "This is Commander Nathan Curtis and Dr. Samantha Miller from Proxima Centauri IV. We've acquired critical enemy intelligence and request immediate landing clearance." "Authentication code," Donovan demanded. "Phoenix Rising, 7-3 Alpha." Nathan replied without hesitation. Donovan nodded. "Clearance granted. Sending coordinates for a secure landing site now." An hour later, Nathan and Samantha stood in the command center, presenting their findings to Donovan, President Garcia, and the fleet commanders participating via secure transmission. "The Zoraxians operate on a rigid hierarchy," Samantha explained, displaying the alien command structure. "Supreme Commander Vorax controls everything from his flagship, the Dominion. Their entire battle network connects to it." Nathan pointed to the tactical display. "They're planning to begin planetary invasion in 24 hours. But here's their weakness. They've concentrated most of their leadership on the command ship, believing it's invulnerable." "No ship is invulnerable," said Captain Ramirez from his position near Pluto, "especially when they don't know we're coming." Admiral Donovan studied the data. "This is exactly what we needed." "Captain Ramirez, how soon can the fleet of Retribution be ready to move?" "We're ready now, sir. Just give the word." Donovan turned to Laura Blackwood. "And the Blackwood device?" "Fully operational," she replied. "I've miniaturized it enough that we can equip 12 missiles. One hit on their command ship should disrupt their shield harmonics across the entire fleet." President Garcia, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "What are the odds of success, Admiral?" "Honestly." Donovan considered for a moment. "The Zoraxians outnumber us 10-1, but they're overconfident. They don't know about our fleet or our technology. If we hit them hard and fast, focusing on their command structure rather than trying to match them ship for ship, I'd say we have a fighting chance." The President nodded. "Then it's time. You have full authorization to launch Operation Retribution." Across the solar system, hidden ships receive their orders. From bases on Callisto, Titan, the asteroid belt, and Earth's moon, vessels of the fleet of Retribution powered up and prepared to move. On the bridge of the EEA's Vengeance, Captain Ramirez addressed his crew. "The moment we've trained for has arrived. Earth is counting on us. Every human settlement across the stars is counting on us." He activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, battle stations, prepare for immediate departure." Throughout the ship, men and women moved with purpose. In the weapons bay, Lieutenant Powell supervised the loading of missiles equipped with Laura Blackwood's device. "Will it work?" asked a young weapons officer. Powell nodded confidently. "The aliens think they know everything about human technology. They're about to learn how wrong they are." In the engine room, Chief Engineer Jake Davidson made final adjustments to the experimental drive system. Unlike conventional Earth ships, the Vengeance could travel at speeds that should have been impossible, another gift from the Arizona crash site. "All systems green, Captain," he reported to the bridge. "She's ready to show what she can do." As the fleet prepared to move, Admiral Donovan sent one final message to all ships. "For years, we hoped this day would never come. We built this fleet not because we wanted war, but because we needed to be ready. The Zoraxians believed that because we sought peace, we were unprepared for war. Today, they learned their mistake. Today, humanity shows that we will not go quietly. We will not surrender, and we will have our retribution." On the Zoraxian command ship, Supreme Commander Vorax prepared the final invasion plans, unaware that 24 hours from now, his certainty of victory would be shattered. Earth's hidden fleet moved as one, accelerating toward the inner solar system. The fleet of Retribution was coming, and it was coming for blood. Supreme Commander Vorax stood on the bridge of the Dominion, watching as Earth grew larger on the main view screen. Around the blue planet, hundreds of Zoraxian ships moved into invasion positions. The humans had put up more resistance than expected, but it had made no difference. Their major military bases were silent. Their space fleet was reduced to scattered remnants hiding among the inner planets. "Final invasion preparations are complete," reported his second-in-command. "Ground forces are boarding landing craft now." "Excellent," Vorax said. "Begin the first wave in 1 hour." A junior officer approached nervously. "Supreme Commander, our long-range sensors have detected unusual energy readings near Saturn. Probably debris from our attack on their outpost," Vorax said dismissively. "Nothing to concern us." The junior officer hesitated. "The readings are moving, sir, toward us." Beyond the orbit of Mars, the fleet of Retribution emerged from stealth mode. 24 warships arranged in a formation no military tactician would recognize. Captain Ramirez had studied ancient human naval battles, not conventional space warfare tactics. The Zoraxians expected standard approach patterns. They would not get them. "All ships, execute Maneuver Thunder," Ramirez ordered from the bridge of the Vengeance. "Lieutenant Powell, ready the Blackwood device." The human fleet split into 3 groups, each taking an unexpected vector. Rather than approaching Earth directly, they used Mars as a gravitational slingshot, accelerating to speeds that made them difficult to track. On the Dominion, alarms suddenly blared. "Supreme Commander," called the sensor officer. "Multiple ships approaching from Sector 7. "Impossible," Vorax snapped. "Our intelligence confirmed the humans have no significant fleet remaining." "These are not in our database," the officer replied, fear evident in his voice. "Design unknown. Speed exceeding known human capabilities." Vorax stared at the tactical display in disbelief as red dots appeared, moving rapidly toward his fleet. "Launch interceptors. All ships, battle positions." But the human fleet didn't engage as expected. Instead of confronting the Zoraxian ships head-on, they executed a series of complex maneuvers, weaving through the alien formation. Several smaller Zoraxian vessels collided trying to adjust their course. On the Vengeance, Lieutenant Powell watched her targeting computer. "Captain, I have a lock on the Dominion's shield frequency." "Fire when ready, Lieutenant," Ramirez ordered calmly. Powell pressed the firing control. A single missile shot from the Vengeance, followed by missiles from 3 other ships. The Zoraxians targeted them with point defense systems, destroying 2. But 2 missiles continued toward the Dominion. "Impact in 5 seconds, Powell reported. On the Dominion, Vorax watched in confusion as the human missiles approached. They were too small to cause significant damage to his massive flagship. "Let them hit," he ordered. "Our shields will hold." The missiles struck the Dominion's shields. Instead of exploding, They emitted a pulse of energy that rippled across the shield's surface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then every alarm on the Zoraxian command ship began to sound at once. "Shields failing," shouted the defense officer. "All frequencies destabilizing." Vorax couldn't believe what he was hearing. Impossible. Reroute power to secondary systems. But it was too late. The Blackwood device had done its work, disrupting the mathematical sequence that controlled the Zoraxian shield technology. And not just on the Dominion. The effect spread through their linked defense network, weakening shields across the entire fleet. "All ships, commence attack pattern Delta," Captain Ramirez ordered. "Target their weapons systems first." The human fleet moved with unexpected precision, striking at the suddenly vulnerable Zoraxian ships. The aliens tried to respond, but their tactics were rigid, predictable. They had never faced an enemy who fought like this. Admiral Donovan watched from the command center on Earth as human ships darted between much larger Zoraxian vessels, delivering precise strikes where the alien shields were weakest. "It's working," Laura Blackwood said in amazement. "They've never encountered an enemy who fights unpredictably." On the Vengeance, Captain Ramirez felt the ship shudder as a Zoraxian blast struck their port side. "Damage report. Shields holding at 60%, reported First Officer Martinez. "We can still fight." Ramirez nodded grimly. "Target their flagship's propulsion systems. We're not just here to fight. We're here to win." Across the battlefield, the tide was turning. The Zoraxians had numbers, but the humans had surprise, ingenuity, and one thing the aliens had never counted on: the burning desire for retribution. The battle around Earth had raged for 6 hours. Debris from destroyed ships, both human and Zoraxian, drifted through space. The fleet of Retribution had struck with such surprise and effectiveness that nearly a third of the Zoraxian armada was damaged or destroyed. But humanity's ships had taken heavy losses too. Of the 24 vessels that began the attack, only 15 remained operational. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Captain Ramirez wiped blood from a cut on his forehead. "Status report. Shields at 30%. First Officer Martinez replied. "Weapons still operational, but we're running low on missiles equipped with the Blackwood device." Lieutenant Powell looked up from her tactical display. "Sir, the Dominion is regrouping. They're forming a defensive position around their command ship." Ramirez studied the battle map. The Zoraxian flagship was damaged, but still dangerous. Supreme Commander Vorax was adapting to human tactics faster than expected. The element of surprise was fading. "We need to end this now," Ramirez said grimly, "before they can fully recover." Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. "New contact," called the sensor officer. "Ship approaching from Sector 3. "Zoraxian reinforcements?" Ramirez asked, his heart sinking. The officer shook his head in confusion. "No, sir. It's an Earth Alliance design, but like nothing I've ever seen before." The main screen showed a sleek black ship moving rapidly toward the battle. It was clearly human-made but incorporated alien design elements. "Open a channel," Ramirez ordered. The screen flickered to show the bridge of the unknown vessel. Ramirez couldn't believe his eyes. Standing at the command station was Captain Olivia Marsh, who everyone believed had died when the Defiance was destroyed in the initial attack. "Captain Ramirez," she said with a tired smile. "Looks like you could use some help." "Marsh, how is this possible?" Ramirez asked in disbelief. "No time to explain fully," she replied. "Short version. We were captured, not killed. Some of us managed to take control of a Zoraxian prison transport. We've modified it with technology we stole during our escape." Her expression hardened. "And we've brought friends." The camera panned to show dozens of freed human prisoners at various stations on the bridge, along with military personnel from other captured Earth vessels. "We've studied their communication protocols from the inside," Marsh continued. "We can send false orders to confuse their fleet." On the Dominion, Supreme Commander Vorax was shouting at his officers. "How are these humans predicting our movements? It's impossible." "Sir, we're receiving conflicting orders across all channels," reported his communications officer. "Fleet cohesion is breaking down. Override all automated systems," Vorex ordered. "Direct control only." But it was too late. The coordinated Zoraxian defense was falling into chaos as different ships received different instructions. Captain Ramirez seized the opportunity. "All ships, focus fire on the Dominion. This is our chance." The remaining vessels of the fleet of Retribution, joined by Captain Marsh's modified ship, concentrated their attack on the Zoraxian flagship. With their shields weakened by the Blackwood device and their coordination disrupted by Marsh's false commands, the aliens couldn't mount an effective defense. On Earth, Admiral Donovan watched the battle with growing hope. "They're doing it," he said quietly. "They're actually doing it." The Dominion's hull began to rupture under the sustained assault. Escape pods launched from the massive ship as systems failed across its length. "Supreme Commander," pleaded Vorex's second-in-command, "we must abandon ship. The humans have won this battle." Vorex stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Impossible. They were peaceful. Weak. How could they have hidden such weapons? Such ships? "They didn't want war," his officer replied. "But they were prepared for it. We misjudged them completely." In the final moments before evacuation, Vorex sent a message to the Zoraxian Empire. "Do not underestimate the humans. We attacked believing they would not fight back. We were wrong. Their retribution is terrible." As the Dominion broke apart, the remaining Zoraxian ships began to retreat. Without their command structure, without their supreme commander, their invasion had failed. Captain Ramirez looked at the Earth below, scared but not conquered. "Send word to Admiral Donovan," he ordered. "The fleet of Retribution has done its job. Earth is safe." Across the solar system, on colonies and outposts that had suffered under Zoraxian attack, humans looked up to see their enemy fleeing. Humanity had been pushed to the brink of defeat, but had not broken. Instead, they had fought back with unexpected strength and determination. The Zoraxians had learned a painful lesson. Those who seek peace are not necessarily unprepared for war.